How did an African tribe living in the remote cliffs of Mali know detailed facts about stars invisible to the naked eye? Facts that Western astronomers wouldn't discover until the 1970s with powerful telescopes. The Dogon people have been telling stories about the Sirius Star System for over 1,000 years, stories that include knowledge so precise it seems impossible without advanced technology. Most people assume that ancient civilizations had limited understanding of astronomy beyond what they could see with their eyes. We're told that sophisticated astronomical knowledge developed gradually through centuries of scientific advancement. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if there are traditions of knowledge that predate our modern discoveries by hundreds, even thousands of years? The Dogon Tribe of West Africa possesses astronomical knowledge that defies conventional explanations. They know about the orbital period of Sirius B, a white dwarf star completely invisible without telescopic equipment. They understand that this tiny, incredibly dense star takes exactly 50 years to orbit its companion star, a fact Western science confirmed only in 1970. In this video, I'm going to share how French anthropologists discovered this impossible knowledge and why it continues to puzzle scientists today. Before we dive into this mystery, I'd love to connect with you. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and how the weather is treating you today. The story begins in the 1930s when French anthropologists Marcel Griaule and Germain Dieterlen arrived in the remote Bandiagara region of Mali to study the Dogon people. What they expected was a typical ethnographic expedition documenting traditional beliefs and customs. What they discovered would challenge the foundations of how we understand the transmission of knowledge in human history. The Dogon live in villages carved into dramatic cliff faces, isolated communities that have preserved their traditions for centuries. Their advanced knowledge is passed down to new generations every 60 years during the Sigoué, a celebration that marks Sirius's cycle. But when Griaule and Dieterlen began documenting these ceremonies, they uncovered something extraordinary. The Dogon told them detailed stories about Tolo, their name for what we now call Sirius B. According to their oral traditions, Tolo is the smallest and heaviest star, made of matter so dense that all the beings on Earth couldn't lift a small piece of it. They described it as orbiting the bright star Sirius in an elliptical path that takes exactly 50 years to complete. Here's what makes this absolutely mind-blowing. Sirius B wasn't even suspected to exist by Western astronomy until 1844, when German astronomer Friedrich Bessel noticed irregularities in Sirius A's motion. The companion star wasn't actually observed until 1862, and its incredible density, the very property the Dogon emphasized, wasn't confirmed until decades later. But the Dogon knowledge goes even deeper. According to Griaule and Dieterlen, the Dogon believed that the Earth and other planets rotate on their axes and orbit the Sun, that Jupiter has 4 moons, and that Saturn has a ring around it. Chandra, Chronicles, Sirius Matters, Alien Contact. These are facts that European astronomers didn't establish until the telescopic era of the 17th century. What topic in African history baffles you the most? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll research it for our next exploration together. The precision of Dogon knowledge becomes even more remarkable when you consider the specifics. The Dogon knew that Sirius B's orbital period around Sirius, the advanced star knowledge of the Dogon Tribe of West Africa, Countier magazine, was exactly 50 years. Modern astronomy confirms this period as 50.04 years. They said the Dogons knew that the dwarf star of Sirius A was actually white in color and was the smallest astral entity in the nearby cosmos. Think about what this means. The Dogon were describing the properties of a white dwarf star, an object so small and dense that a teaspoon of its material would weigh several tons on Earth. This is knowledge that requires not just observation, but understanding of stellar physics that Western science developed only in the 20th century. The Dogon also speak of the Nommos, amphibious beings they say came from the Sirius system long ago to share knowledge with humanity. In their traditions, these beings are described as the teachers who gave them their astronomical knowledge. While this might sound like mythology to modern ears, consider this. The astronomical facts embedded in these stories are scientifically accurate. Their extraordinary knowledge of astronomy is a real mystery. Dogon Tribe's advanced astronomical knowledge, Sirius B mystery. The Dogon describe not just Sirius B, but also speak of a third star in the system, what they call MEA. Remarkably, some astronomers have speculated about the possibility of a third component to the Sirius system, though it remains unconfirmed. But here's where the story takes an intriguing turn. Not everyone accepts the Dogon's astronomical knowledge at face value. The anthropologist Walter van Beek, who studied the Dogon after Griol and Dieter Lenn, found no evidence that the Dogon considered Sirius to be a double star, and or that astronomy was particularly important, the Sirius mystery. This criticism raises important questions about how knowledge is preserved and transmitted in oral cultures. Van Beek's research suggests that the astronomical knowledge might have been known only to specific ritual leaders, not the general population. Or perhaps the knowledge was shared only during particular ceremonies or initiations that outside researchers rarely witnessed. Griol's oeuvre has come under sharp scrutiny since the 1960s, criticized for essentializing cultural patterns and privileging a romanticized past over a historically conditioned present. Some scholars argue that the French anthropologists may have inadvertently influenced the information they received, or that their informants incorporated Western astronomical knowledge they had encountered through contact with the outside world. If this story is resonating with you the way it's resonating with me, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. Your subscription means the world to me, as this channel is still young and growing, and every subscriber helps us preserve these important stories that deserve to be remembered. Yet even accounting for these criticisms, certain aspects of the Dogon knowledge remain difficult to explain through conventional means. The specificity of their information about Sirius B's orbital period and physical properties suggests familiarity with astronomical concepts that wouldn't have been casually encountered through cultural contact. The Dogon understanding of stellar evolution also seems remarkably sophisticated. They describe Tolo as having once been larger and brighter before becoming small and incredibly dense. This matches the modern understanding of how white dwarf stars form, as the collapsed remnants of larger stars that have exhausted their nuclear fuel. What's particularly fascinating is how this knowledge is embedded in a complex cosmological system. The Dogon don't just list astronomical facts, they weave them into creation myths, ritual practices, and social structures that give meaning to their community's existence. The tribe's advanced knowledge is passed down to new generations every 60 years during the Sigüe, a celebration that marks Sirius's cycle. This suggests that astronomical knowledge isn't separate from daily life for the Dogon. It's fundamental to their understanding of reality itself. The movements of stars determine the timing of important ceremonies, the structure of their calendar, and even aspects of their social organization. The implications of authentic ancient astronomical knowledge extend far beyond one African tribe. If the Dogon truly possessed accurate information about invisible stellar companions centuries before telescopic astronomy, it challenges our assumptions about the linear progress of human knowledge. It suggests that sophisticated understanding might arise through means we don't fully comprehend. Some researchers have proposed that the Dogon might have inherited their knowledge from ancient Egyptian astronomical traditions, as there are documented connections between the cultures of the Nile and the Niger River systems. Others suggest that careful naked-eye observation over many generations might have revealed subtle patterns that escaped Western astronomers. The mystery deepens when we consider that similar traditions of advanced astronomical knowledge appear in other cultures. Ancient Hindu texts describe cosmic cycles and stellar movements with surprising accuracy. Mayan astronomers calculated planetary motions with precision that rivals modern calculations. Aboriginal Australian traditions encode sophisticated star maps in their Dreamtime stories. Could it be that ancient peoples developed methods of knowledge acquisition and preservation that we've lost or dismissed? Or are we witnessing the survival of information from an earlier, more scientifically advanced human civilization? The Dogon case is particularly compelling because their knowledge is so specific and verifiable. Unlike vague prophecies or general statements about celestial movements, they provide precise orbital periods, stellar properties, and astronomical relationships that can be tested against modern observations. Robert K. G. Temple, who exhaustively explored the topic in his 1976 book, The Sirius Mystery: The Advanced Star Knowledge of the Dogon Tribe of West Africa, Countier magazine, argues that the Dogon knowledge represents evidence of ancient contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. While this remains speculative, Temple's research documents the remarkable consistency and accuracy of Dogon astronomical traditions. Whether you find the extraterrestrial hypothesis compelling or prefer more conventional explanations, the core mystery remains. How did the Dogon acquire detailed knowledge about astronomical objects invisible to human sight? Recent developments in astronomy have added new dimensions to this puzzle. Advanced telescopic observations continue to reveal the complexity of the Sirius system, sometimes confirming aspects of Dogon tradition that seemed impossible when first recorded. The discovery of planets around other stars, the understanding of stellar evolution, and the detection of gravitational waves all provide new contexts for evaluating ancient astronomical knowledge. What part of the Dogon mystery intrigues you most? Is it the precise orbital calculations that match modern astronomy? The possibility that ancient wisdom traditions preserve scientific knowledge we're only now rediscovering? Or perhaps the deeper question of how consciousness and cosmos might be connected in ways our current scientific paradigm doesn't recognize? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm fascinated to hear which aspects of this story spark your curiosity. The Dogon story forces us to reconsider the relationship between myth and science, between ancient wisdom and modern knowledge. It suggests that the boundaries between these categories might be more fluid than we assume. Perhaps what we call mythology sometimes preserves factual information in symbolic form, waiting for us to develop the tools to recognize its accuracy. This has profound implications for how we understand human history and the development of civilization. If ancient peoples possessed sophisticated astronomical knowledge through means we don't comprehend, what other wisdom might be encoded in traditions we've dismissed as primitive superstition? The Dogon teach us that knowledge can survive across centuries in oral traditions, passed down through ceremony and story with remarkable fidelity. In an age when we worry about the loss of cultural heritage and traditional wisdom, their example shows the power of ritual and community to preserve essential information across generations. As we wrap up this exploration of one of archaeology's most enduring mysteries, we're left with questions that go to the heart of human knowledge and consciousness. The Dogon people, living in their cliffside villages in Mali, continue to practice traditions that encode astronomical information Western science has only recently confirmed. Whether this knowledge arose through ancient contact with advanced civilizations, careful observation passed down through generations, or means we haven't yet discovered, it challenges our assumptions about the capabilities of ancient peoples. It reminds us that wisdom can take many forms, and that truth sometimes comes wrapped in stories that seem impossible until science catches up to verify their accuracy. The mystery of the Dogon and Sirius remains unsolved, a testament to the depth and complexity of human knowledge traditions. It stands as a reminder that the universe still holds secrets, that ancient wisdom deserves respectful investigation, and that the line between science and spirituality may not be as clear as we once believed. In preserving and sharing these stories, we honor not just the Dogon people, but the possibility that human consciousness might be capable of insights that transcend the conventional boundaries of time, space, and technological limitation.